You know, as I've gotten older and I've rewatched or begun to rewatch Naruto, it was a lot of things I didn't realize as a younger person watching Naruto for the first time. Because the first time I watched it, I was 12. And when I rewatched it at like 17, 18, I sat there and I was like, I didn't realize that this whole thing is just built off military use and warfare fully. And again, you may just look at me like, oh, it was blatantly right in your face. And yes, it was. But again, I was 12. I did not think to break things down that weren't overtly spoken to me. But throughout this video, I want to talk about the military nations essentially in Naruto, because when you look at it, that's really what they are, especially something like the Hidden Leaf. It's a military nation. The Hokage is essentially a military leader, but he does paperwork somewhat crucial to the Leaf, but you and I both know it's not that crucial, because the whole world of Naruto runs off of the backs of the ninjas. Essentially, the shinobis, anyone who is essentially a ninja, it almost indefinitely runs off their back. If your village does not have a strong ninja within the village at that moment, you're low-key vulnerable, like very vulnerable. Because throughout Naruto, there have been five confirmed, because we know the fifth one's coming. 5 great ninja wars, of which violence, unnecessary bloodshed, and things have been taken apart. But the really interesting thing about Naruto is that they show you all that behind the scenes. Someone like Danzo is so interesting to look at, because you are shown just what a piece of shit this guy is. And he's a piece of shit only because, or not necessarily because of his ideals, even though his ideals are a lot more forthcoming, a lot more violent. He didn't like the third Hokage's passive nature, which the third Hokage in itself is another thing, and I could do a whole think piece on the third Hokage's complacency within the Hidden Leaf Village, as long as it looked good on the outside, but that's another thing. Everything Danzo did, he did it in the name of what he believed in, which was the protection of the Hidden Leaf. Through that protection, he manipulated, caused the murder and death of hundreds of people of a specific subjugated group, and he continuously did even worse things until Sasuke ultimately, thankfully, cut him down. But how can someone exist in a story like this? It's because people like this have always existed within the Naruto world. The Naruto world is very good at showing you one thing: balance between good and evil. That's why there is always a cycle, and the cycle will always continue. Balance. Well, until the cycle is broken, but yes, balance. And through that balance, when you look at the actual military system of the Leaf, you start to realize one thing. For one, a lot of the people we follow as children, they are either children or young adults. They're either dying or they're experiencing extreme grief and pain. And within experiencing that extreme grief and pain, what do they get? Nothing. No one could really help them. Look at someone like Kakashi or Itachi or even fucking Minato. Minato is someone who did not experience extreme grief and pain until the ending, where he died protecting his wife and his newborn baby. But who did he die against, or who did he have to face before dying? His own former student that he didn't know was his former student. Someone who saw how evil that system was and sought to destroy it as he got older, from that moment, or from the moment of which he saw Rin die. Now again, a lot of people who watch Naruto, they misconstrue Obito's reasoning. His reasoning isn't because Rin died. It's because the system that had been held in place that would cause someone like Rin to die. Why is this system held in place where I'm a 13-year-old, he's a 13-year-old, he's a 12-year-old, we're out here doing fucking missions in a fucking war? Why is this system taking place where millions of children and kids and women have to continuously die in order for the higher ups to get peace, in order for the higher ups to come to an agreement of neutrality. And Obito's not the first one we see who holds this belief that the system has to be crumbled and destroyed for what has transpired. Pain is someone who, again, specifically holds this belief to break down this horrible system that has been plagued upon the ninja world. He wants to destroy this. That's why when you look back at his speech to Naruto, he's like, oh, well, what about my people? What about my village? All of the destruction and chaos and the fighting that happened there, the orphans, the kids, my friends who I saw die, all of them. What about me? Because again, that's fair. He's a victim in some ways. Let me not get too far into that. But he's somewhat of a victim. He had been subjugated by this system to be born and to fight in a war he didn't want to fight in. None of them necessarily wanted to fight in, but this war was always so much bigger than them. You may ask, well, why are you talking about them? You're talking about the system. It's because I wanted to talk about people who wanted to break down this system. This system of military complex in Naruto was so corrupt, so unjust. It's so bad that when you think about all the people in Naruto who end up suffering just for being in that system, it's an awful lot. Even someone like Tsunade's brother, that kid who's on the battlefield in the, third Great Ninja War. Why? He died on the battlefield for what? He went out a bad way, but he died on the battlefield for what? And with a system like that, it's built off of a cycle of manipulation and things of that nature. If manipulation doesn't exist in that cycle, it won't work. I have to manipulate you to believe that these people to our right are our enemy. For what reason? It's various reasons. We've seen in Naruto, coups have started with where people have went into another village, killed someone, kidnapped somebody, and now there is mass chaos or fighting. That was a part of the whole Akatsuki's plan. They were coming after the tail beats. And I think with Naruto, Kishimoto sought to make a world very similar to ours, because as you can see, well, I would say in the real world, the military use isn't, at least now, it isn't as prominent. It's very super prominent across the world, throughout the world, but now it's a lot of techno use against the average person to make them fall into propaganda or whatever the case is, or whatever they need them to listen to, right? But I do feel like Kishimoto, he took a lot of things from the real world because of something like that system in place. It is a system, the systems that we are shown within Naruto, people suffer and they continue to suffer. Naruto was a victim of that system by just being born. By him being born and him having this beast within him, now he is a monster instead of being treated like a human. And it was only until he did a fantastic military victory, which is what you can call it, by beating Pain and bringing everyone back, that he was now beloved. I spent a lot of time in this video focusing on the Leaf, and the reason I do that is because we follow the Leaf majority of Naruto, like the overwhelming majority of Naruto, right? And within that, we learn various things about the Leaf, where after you learn it, you're like, oh, you're marching these people to their doom. Danzo quite literally subjugated and disrespected the Uchiha clan so bad, then he left it on the shoulders of a 13-year-old to carry out the execution of the rest of his brothers, uncles, mother, father, little siblings, kids, everyone except his little brother. And then Itachi is now made out to be a traitor in the public eye, while in the private record he's a hero. How does that work? And that's a part of the reason why I could fully understand why Sasuke was on such a terror streak, why he was named a terrorist, why he became that. You find out your entire family wasn't killed because your brother randomly snapped one night, but no, because the higher ups told him to, in order to avoid a conflict within this village. This minority, this subjugated clan Mind you, you already have the Hyuga clan under check. You already have them under check. They're already under a seal. The Uzumaki clan is already gone. This clan minority is wiped off the face of the earth for the simple fact that it could have caused issues within the government, essentially, within the military, within the nation. And really with Naruto, and I'm gonna end it off here because this is my final thoughts. With Naruto, it was only till recently I realized almost everyone's a victim in some ways of this wretched machine, of this awful system that had been set up in order, or at least to claim to keep people in protection, but also causing fights after fights after fights against clans and villages, causing people, thousands, to die and become sacrifices of war, even if they are innocent people who have nothing to do with that. But yeah, that's really all I got. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You know, we're on the road to 10K, so anything helps. And until next time, peace.